Welcome to the text-to-voice studio. Paste any script, announcement, or narration here and press Generate Voice. Episode 67. This is the age we are in. The next day I went to see my father. It was to report what had happened with the Punchin religious leader. Since it is a situation on campus, my father probably knows everything, but what I come to talk about and what Sima Ming reports to me are completely different issues. My father was training at the time. While I was waiting outside, there was a message telling me to come inside. Please come into the training hall. The sound heard in the air was Huai, my father's water guard. It's been a while since I heard his voice. It's been a while, mister. Yes, master. A short answer was heard. I remember holding Huai's hand and walking down the streets of Regression when I was young. I think he was begging me to buy him some street food. Anyway, the memory of that day remained a good memory for me. Uncle, when will I see you again? I will treat you to a meal. Yes. Relax, mister. I wasn't sure exactly how he would accept my favor or what his current feelings were toward me. For me, it was a pleasant memory, but for him, it may have been an uninspiring daily routine. Still, you have to be friendly with him. Because he was the person my father trusted the most. I mentally prepared myself and entered the training center. Just as expected. Today too, my father attacked me with my Ongguangbo. While dodging with the blinker, I struck down my father's heavenly demon sword with the black demon sword. This was the first clash between the black demon sword and the heavenly demon sword, and it was a much more dangerous attempt than simply dodging. Of course, my father noticed the change in my state at a glance. Your skills have improved. My father also attacked while his Ongguangbo level was much higher, but he blocked it in a more dangerous way. Of course it should increase. I will do the most martial arts training at this school. No, it would be the second time. Ian does it the most. Why don't you think it's the third time? From these words, I was able to guess how hard my father was practicing Punchin Seibo. Father, you are doing well. You must achieve great success. Absolutely. I walked out of the training center with my father. We walked side by side and talked. What brings you here? The leader of Punchin Church wants to join hands with me. It feels like there has been a split with Parmesan. Did you know? There was no need to say that he had taught me the art of space-time anomaly. This part was something that the Punchin religious leader would not disclose to the outside world. This is how my father saw the core of this matter. It was arrogant for the Megans to bring the Punchin cult leader here. We should have gone to him and resolved it, and if we were planning on bringing him in, everyone should have gone to him and asked for him. You have touched the pride of the Punchin church leader by mistake. There may be many reasons why he pushes to advance to the midfield, but when I look at them one by one, it occurred to me that what lies at the bottom may really be his wounded pride. Things that are neglected and thought to be insignificant end up becoming the biggest problems. This incident is clearly a mistake by Mason. I got a glimpse of my father's agony. If you feel like watching the Masons fight against the Punchin cult leader, you'll want to get rid of those that lack loyalty. However, it was obvious that if they, the main force of the school, collapsed, the Murim alliance would eventually attack, so Parmesan was truly a necessary evil for his father. Then why did the leader of Punchin come to me instead of visiting my father? My father was firm in his answer this time too. The first reason is because they think it's difficult for me, and the second reason is because they think it's easy to take advantage of you. What are you trying to do using me? I asked, pretending not to know anything. Ask your questions to your soldiers. I don't have any military, do I? I have to save it. Where do you get someone as smart as Master Sima? My father just snorted once. It's the luxury of those who have it. Truly, my greatest task is to save a soldier as smart as Sima Ming. Aren't you doing well without the military? Thank you for saying that, but most things turned out well because I was lucky. I overcome situations based on my many experiences before returning, and I am not a military-type person either. I really need soldiers who can assist me with wisdom and insight. Please just answer this question. What does the leader of Punchin Church want? My father stopped and answered. His dream is to advance to the midfield. Are you someone who won't leave power just to protect the sacred items? That's his obsessive personality. You are saying that your dream is to advance to the midfield. In his life before his return, Punchin Gyoju could not advance to the midfield. Because Huamugi swept away all of Wulin, he did not dare to take a single step into the Central Plains and ended his life outside the country. But as I returned, his life was also changing. Because I came to Jungwon, where I would not have come originally, and to our school in person. For generations, the foreign religions have targeted the Central Plains. They have never been successful, but the desire to advance to the midfield is in their blood. Now I understand why you came to see me. Although I knew all this without having to ask my father, I acted as if I had heard it from him. Sometimes, even if you know, you have to act like you don't know. It was a courtesy to my father rather than an abomination. Most parents in the world would like their children to ask them this question. Do you think it's different from your father? At least this part was no different. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said this. As he was about to go inside, my father added bluntly, "Since you're already here, let's eat and go." Yes. The best thing is when my father tells me to eat and go. But I didn't say anything good. If you do that for no reason, he will never tell you to eat and go next time. He is not an easy father at all. When I returned to Hwangkyongak after eating with my father, there was a visit from an unexpected person. It was Mabul who came to see me. "Welcome, old man. Once you come, it's too late." It was my first time seeing him this close. He was shorter than he looked from a distance, and looking at his golden skin made me want to touch it with my hands. Mabul. My brother's right-hand man in name and reality. Please sit down. That's right. Mabul sat down. He hated having anyone look down on him. That's probably why you straighten your back like that even when you sit down. How can I just stay when my friend's important sacred item was stolen? I came to find out how the investigation is going. I am currently investigating this incident myself. Is it really true that there were thieves? Is it true? What do you mean by that? When I asked casually, he looked like he was asking because he didn't know. How can we believe that a thief has entered our school? Wouldn't it be more difficult to believe that the Pungchen religious leader staged a play of his own making? From the beginning, we created a tense atmosphere. There was also a subtle golden glow in his eyes. It was a phenomenon in which only those who achieved great success as the Great Golden Lama appeared. How strong is Mabul's martial arts skills? The Golden Great Lama attack that Mabul had learned was a martial art that was as difficult to deal with as the Siafan demon attacks Hex. If there really was a thief in the inner garden, the reputation of our school would be greatly damaged. I guess so. Shouldn't we handle it quietly? How do you mean? How about sending him back outside to prevent him from making a fuss? It's not like you can catch a thief that you can't catch with him anyway. It was clearly a comment aimed at me. He was convinced that it was a self-made drama, and he probably believed that I was helping him with it. Will you listen to me, who is just a footnote? I heard that the leader of the Pungchen Church came to visit you. I came to say hello. The leader of the Pungchen Church believes that you will be his successor. There was no such expression. Why do you think that? If not, I'm not the type of person to go to someone. He is a man who is used to having someone come and say hello. If he found you, he must have seen your potential as a successor. While speaking, he constantly looked at my reactions and tried to read my inner thoughts. I'm sorry to say this, but that's an attempt that even my father fails at. For the sake of this school, I have to send him back. It was an attempt to kill two birds with one stone. If I try to send him back, that's fine, and if I refuse this offer, they can accuse me of not acting for the sake of the school. No, then you shouldn't send him back. What do you mean? As you said, he will use this incident as an excuse to discredit our school. Then you have to hold on to it. On the contrary, you won't be able to open your mouth without permission until you are at the main school. Let me just hint. If you want to find something new, don't open your mouth carelessly. For a moment, Mabul could not answer. Of course, he wasn't the kind of person who would come to take off a lump and then put another on. The leader of Pungchen is a man like a snake. There is clearly another ulterior motive. Then I'll pretend to hold his hand and figure out his intentions. Since you're this stubborn, it looks like you'll be a great nether footnote in the future. Mainly in terms of what we believe is right. Mabul took those words as a reprimand that he was an unjust person. Mabul must have thought it was an opportunity, but he quickly made a sign with his finger. A man of the law. At that moment, a golden glow emanated from Mabul's body. The opponent cannot open his eyes for a moment due to this light, which is more intense than the sun. This fleeting moment was as long as an eon for those with Mason-level skills. Should I stab him here or stab him there? No, let's stab them in both places. I closed my eyes too. But before I closed my eyes, I knew. My eyes were barely affected by that light. Golden light poured out of his body, and the demonic fire was clearly visible in the center of it. At this moment, it was not the golden Great Lama ball that shined, but my Shan'an art. But I deliberately closed my eyes. There was no need to reveal my skills to Mabul. When I opened my eyes again, Mabul was sticking his face right in front of my nose. His face, which seemed both childlike and adult-like, felt unfamiliar. The way he looked at me was exactly like this. If I had decided to kill you, you would already be dead. He was a man who could be confident in himself. The Great Golden Lama has 5 beasts in total. You don't have to experience it to know how scary the attack will be after it flies in while blindfolded. I didn't say anything. Even if it wasn't fear, I intentionally showed a reaction of surprise and fear. Mabul probably thought this was enough warning and stood up. He said the opposite of what he said when Hyolkion Doma first came to see me. I want to see you often. We drink tea and talk like this. If you join me, only good things will happen to you. Please share a lot with your brother. Mabul smiled in satisfaction at my childish arrogance. Yes, this is the age right now. See you then. Please take a look. As he walked out of the room, the stern expression I had put on purpose eased, and the golden room returned to its original state. Hey Mabul. You better not see me often. As of now, there are only 3 types of Mason that are involved with me. Either we're friends, we're getting closer, or we're dead. Which do you think? As of now, I don't think we'll become friends. So are you confident in creating the 4th category? Li Gongjae until the end of the 68th episode. Sufarmazan has 5 disciples in total, but among them, considering their age and ability, the strong candidates for the succession battle are the 1st disciple, Yang Yang, and the 3rd disciple, Kyongseon. For your information, Kyongseon is a woman. I asked about Seo Daryong's report. What is the reputation of the 2 within Seo Hwanjin? Given his age, experience and martial art skills are more transferable, but Kyongseon is more popular within Seo Hwanjin. Compared to her youth and beauty, Yang Yang has a vicious personality, and several demon magicians have already been injured by him. Some even died. Nevertheless, the deceased Soul Mason cherished him and there was a high possibility that he would become his successor, but now the situation has changed. Investigate both of them one by one. Military property, ability, hobbies, and even human relationships. Everything. All right. Who will the Pungchen religious leader choose? Seo Daryong widened his eyes at my question. Will the leader of the Pungchen church choose one of them? Who? So, I also sent you information about the disciples of the Subsoul Mason. Why? Because I told you to get involved in Seo Hwanjin's succession battle. Oh my god. What are you planning again? No way. Seo Daryong, whose thoughts were stuck somewhere, sent a message. Are you going to kill the Pungchen religious leader too? Or transfer? Even Kyongseon? Am I a murderer? Kill them all. Only then did Seo Daryong feel relieved. Fortunately, everyone is worried that I might kill someone. That's how I am these days. Who else cared? Master. Master. Ah. Mr. Hyolkion Doma. You still don't call me master, right? You didn't give me permission. However, Seo Daryong seems to be treating him as his master. I saw the word master coming out without realizing it. I felt that Seo Daryong was falling more and more in love with Doma. In fact, Seo Daryong must have already fallen in love with the sight of Hyolkion Doma reading a book. So who will the leader of Pungchen choose? How would I know? How can you know if you, a genius at senior admissions, don't know? I studied hard and was admitted to the top of the class, but I am not a genius. You said you were a genius, right? That's what the Lord said. You nodded your head smugly then, right? I admit it. In my heart, I also have a bravado that I can't help. So please downgrade me from a genius to someone who is good at practical work. Instead, we will make sure to investigate the 2 people. Seo Daryong bowed and left the office. So who should we support? In response to the Pungchen cult leader's question, the shackled man was only looking at the sound bell. Why are you looking at that servant like that? Is the evil spirit engraved on the bell a horse? Then the shackled man suddenly spoke. How did you know? Why are you so scared? Sometimes he talks to me. What are they saying? The shackled man said, looking blankly at the demon. Why do you live like that? A moment of silence. So what did you answer? In the past, I answered that I live like this because I am a narrow-minded and greedy person. Now, I answered that maybe it wasn't necessarily because of that person. So what did you say? The man in shackles said nothing. After urging him once more, the shackled man looked pitifully at the leader of the Puncheon church. Why do you keep asking? What does the sculpture say? Are you crazy? The head of the Puncheon church made a bewildered expression. It's strange that cancer doesn't affect me. Sooner or later I'll be sitting there and having a conversation with that carved demon. Why are you being ignored like that? Why? You evil spirit, I know because you've been watching me all this time. This is Keongseon. It's a surprise. Please, at least take the rider's approach and stab me. Although he was a man with unpredictable shackles, he was a valuable person who gave answers like this when needed. Why Keongseon? From what I can see, it looks like Yang Yang will be the successor. Then choose that person. The shackled man closed his mouth as if he had nothing more to say. The leader of Puncheon quietly went to his side. Why Keongseon? Just choose to transfer according to your confidence. How long will someone like a cult leader follow what others say? It's good, I'll do my best in blue line. The leader of Puncheon believed in a shackled man like a rock. There was no need for a reason. Because there was a past that he showed so far. You mean Keongseon? Then how can I make her my disciple? I don't know that. What if you don't know? Wouldn't it be weirder to know that while being tied up here like this? But that too. However, the leader of Puncheon did not say that he would release his shackles. Even though we've talked about all sorts of things up until now, we've never said that one thing. If you take off the shackles, the man will quickly leave himself. Who in the world would like someone who made something like this and stay? The moment you release it, it's over. Therefore, the term loosening the shackles was an absolute taboo in the Puncheon cult. Shall I visit Keongseon? What are you going to say when you go? Become my disciple. Is it too overbearing? I allow you to become my disciple. How is it? So, I will become your disciple. Then what should I do? Please change your situation. An old man whose true intentions are unknown comes and suddenly asks you to become his disciple. If you were a sect leader, would you fall for that? No problem. It's the same with everyone else. It just doesn't work. Surely you have to pay for what you say. The shackled man nodded. Will I become your master and teach you martial arts? If you have to pay the price, you have to pay it there. It's an old way of thinking. Those who are more desperate will pay the price. I don't like it. Now I want to receive, not give. By nature, I am a person who much prefers receiving. Come pack a bunch of stuff to fill my stomach and tell me to learn. Tell me to be on my knees and begging in the yard all day. The shackled man told me to give him everything, but that was easier said than done. If a price has to be paid, it should not be Keongseon. Then who? Gongya Lee will want more of the new items here. Last time I was looking around at a new property, there were some things I noticed. Damn it! The scientist will come with an answer this time too. Are you a scientist again? The shackled man spoke calmly to the sighing Puncheon religious leader. I will be a scientist until the end. As Seo Dae-ryong boasted, at least he was definitely good at practical work. We have conducted a detailed investigation into Yang Yang and Keongseon. We investigated not only their homes and families, but also their martial arts level, personality, interpersonal relationships, and even their favorite foods. However, in the process of investigating Keongseon, I discovered one strange thing. What point? Keongseon met Sao Jong a few times. Sao Jong. An unexpected name popped out. Yes. Since we have no contact, I am reporting this just in case. Seo Dae-ryong knew that I also had a relationship with Ilkwa Jeomsun, so he is reporting separately. I thought of Sao Jong's final days. He fell under the spell of sedition and tried to kill Ilkwa Jeomsun, but ended up dying. It was a death in which it was never revealed whose magic was used. Ah. That was Kyungseon's magic of soul-searching. A conclusion that comes naturally. You two are dating each other. Seo Dae-ryong was surprised by my words. I wasn't surprised that the two of them were dating, but I was surprised that I guessed that fact in one sitting. How did you know? Seo Jong liked Il-woo Ji-omsun. What if you were caught in the process of dating Kyungseon? His death must have been the result of Kyungseon's jealousy and anger. In particular, Kyungseon was young, and if her man loved an older woman, the wound to his pride would be so deep that it would pierce his body. That's not the only reason to judge that you're dating. The person who told me where Daebop Sim's bodies were buried earlier, and the person who stole New News Fan and put it there, must have been Kyungseon. These were things that could not be figured out or accomplished unless one was a disciple of the Subsoul Mason. Additionally, if she wasn't dating Seo Jong, there's no way she would have leaked such important information. Everything seemed to fit together, but I couldn't tell Seo Dae-ryong this fact. I suddenly got up from my seat. You seem to have an idea to change the situation again. How did you know? The look in your eyes has changed. Why are you looking for a genius? Mr. Gakyu is a genius. I'm not a genius. It's just a matter of being petty and trying not to miss out on the benefits. We need someone who knows how to use a big head, not one like this. There is a big difference between having such a person in an organization and not having one. I don't know, but anyway, you're amazing. I don't know what I don't know. I found out thanks to your research. Even if I find a genius, I won't exchange you for that person. I guess so. You'll have both anyway. But where are you going? I was already walking out of the office. Get sick of it. This too was something I couldn't tell him. That's how I met the leader of Puncheon. His residence was the scene of an incident, and as a member of the Netherworld, I had an official reason to come and go at any time. Welcome. How are you? I enjoyed reading the material you sent me. Thank you. You're welcome. While exchanging greetings with him, I glanced at the shackled man. He lowered his head and didn't look at me, but every time I see him, I get the feeling that our relationship isn't just passing by like this. My eyes turned to the head of Puncheon Bridge again. Have you found a way to enter the fight for Seo Hwanjin's successor? Not yet. You must hurry. The Megans will soon intervene and select a successor. As you know, I am shackled here just like that man. It's not easy to even meet Seo Hwanjin's successors. I nodded in understanding. Which of the candidates would you like to have as your disciple? This is Kyungseon. Judging by the fact that he wasn't surprised by my answer, it looks like he and the shackled man have already come to that conclusion. Indeed, it was so. We also decided that Kyungseon was suitable. I say it's because of Seo Jong, but why did that shackled man choose Kyungseon? But there's no way to convince her. What if I can make Kyungseon come directly to the religious leader? What if you came to visit me? I'm asking you to become my disciple. I will cook rice and feed you. If you do that, there's nothing more I can ask for. Please give me something new instead. The bright expression on Puncheon's face darkened again. You are so shameless. It's not shameless, it's natural. Getting people to do work based on friendship or loyalty without receiving proper compensation was something that was common in my father's time. I am also from that time. You have to acknowledge that times have changed. I also know that I, the person sitting in front of me, am a person these days. If you don't like this, you should harden like a fossil and live only looking at the good things for yourself. Of course, because he did not want that kind of life, the Puncheon religious leader hardened his impression. I persuaded him in a gentle tone. This job involves dealing with young people, so please leave it to me. I will deliver results that are worth the effort. Think about it for a moment. Of course. I pretended not to notice and looked at the new object, giving time for communication to pass between the shackled man and the Puncheon religious leader. Eventually, the leader of Puncheon Church spoke to me. Okay, I'll accept your offer. Although he looked disapproving, he seemed to have been persuaded by the shackled man in the end. She even came to me and asked me to accept her as a disciple. It is the leader's ability to elevate her to the position of Majon. If I still need help, then I'll come back and ask for supplies. Just take it all now. I wish I had the ability to do that. For me and for the leader. I got up from my seat. I politely gave a quick glance to the shackled man to the leader of Puncheon Church and left. That's how I went to find one person. The person who held the key to this incident was Saw Jong. Episode 69, Lethal Methods Are Effective. I entered the Northern Heavenly Sword House. Today, as always, Sao Jong guided me to Ilhwajiamjin. Welcome, Mr. Garkyu. How have you been, Secretary? Thanks to your concern, I have been doing well. He greeted me as usual. Even though he tried to push me away using the Soul Mason and failed, he did not show his resentment. Today, I plan to use the blue boat as bait and use his hidden ambition to catch him. Welcome. Ilhwajiamzone welcomed me warmly. Seeing her after a long time made her feel much clearer. You've gotten younger. At my greeting, she led me to the flower bed. Come here and take a look at this. A sprout had sprouted where she pointed. These are the seeds you gave me as a gift. Oh. You've already grown up. Yes, life is so mysterious. I could feel the energy of Sao Jong, who was standing behind us, sinking even further. I've been secretly watching him ever since I entered here. My level of proficiency has become incomparable to when I first learned this technique from my father. Because I began to not only understand the other person's presence or appearance, but also feel their emotions. I secretly sent a message to Jiomjin. Would you please let me bring drinks and snacks to Sao Jong? I need to spill some information to him. I'll tell you why later. I understand. Ilhwajiamjin had Sao Jong bring alcohol. After answering politely, Sao Jong turned away and his emotions became even more ferocious. She, who didn't drink, started drinking and only spoke informally to me. Judging by his emotional changes, he probably thinks that I have lost Ilhwajiamjin. My guess is that the relationship with Kyongseon is also not a normal relationship. Because his ending says it all. After a while, when Sao Jong brought drinks and snacks, I spilled one piece of information. I told Ilhwajiamjin, but in fact, it was what Sao Jong told me to listen to. Currently, the next Seobhonmazon is likely to be Yang Yang, a Japanese disciple, and Kyongseon, a third disciple. When Kyongseon was mentioned, I felt Sao Jong startled. I heard that the transfer is more likely. You're right. But it's not like Kyongseon doesn't have a way. Is there any way? Ilhwajiamzon continued the conversation with me. You might have wondered why she was having this conversation about Sao Jong, but she didn't show any signs and acted naturally. Isn't the leader of Pungchen Church here at the church? The roots of the martial arts learned by Pungchen Cult Master and Seophon Mason are the same. Therefore, if you can learn martial arts from the Pungchen cult leader, even Kyongseon has a chance of victory. Will the Pungchen religious leader accept her? The leader of Pungchen will accept it. As everyone knows, Pungcheonggyo has long wanted to advance into the central region at all costs. In this situation, if you take Kyongseon as your disciple, you will be creating an excuse for him to remain in the midfield. Rather, Kyongseon will not accept it. Why is that? It seems that the Seobhonmazon has been making sure to educate his disciples on a regular basis. I don't think he would have said anything good about his archenemy, the Pungchen religious leader. I guess so. In the end, if things continue like this, Yang Yang will rise to the position of Seobhonmazon. Unfortunately, Kyongseon will miss the opportunity to become a Maijin. This was all I heard until Sao Jong left behind the drinks and snacks. I spoke quickly and he slowly placed the drinks and snacks on the table. I walked slowly and listened to as many stories as possible before leaving. This was enough. Because I heard everything I needed to hear. I believed that Sao Jong would definitely persuade Kyongseon to become a disciple of the Pungchen sect. Because he was so ambitious, there was no way he would miss the opportunity for his lover to become a Subsoul Mason. After confirming that he had completely left, Ilhwajiamzon finally asked. Why did you ask me this? Sao Jong is in a relationship with Kyongseon. Did you know? Sao Jong? I didn't know. I don't know if you know, but according to Bongak's investigation, Sao Jong is a very ambitious person. He may be trying to influence you from behind the scenes. Although he warned her, he did not tell her that Sao Jong personally liked her. I know a little about it too. While I was keeping an eye on Sao Jong to see if he might cause harm to my senior, I found out that the two of you were dating, and I wanted to take advantage of that, so I asked you this favor. I see. Thank you for telling me. I am grateful. Please be on guard in your heart, but for the time being, I would like you to handle matters related to Sao Jong as usual. I guess so. I plan to repay my gratitude for her help this time with what she wanted most. Let's have a dance sometime soon. I'm looking forward to it. To be honest, I had high expectations. Because I wanted to see how helpful Shin'an Jutsu would be in practice. But for now, this is after I deal with this matter. As I was leaving there, I looked back. I saw her in the yard, holding her back and looking up at the sky. This Mooke no longer seemed hypocritical. Today, Sao Zhong was doing his best to sleep. Thanks to this, Keongseon felt a pleasure he had never felt before. The two people lay side by side on the bed, covered in sweat. What's going on today? No, or why? It's not like usual. So. It was so good. Sao Zhong was definitely different from usual. He asked, hugging her first. Are you busy these days? There are people who say I should be Amazon. How about you? Who doesn't like Amazon seats? I just don't have the confidence to beat the death penalty. You must become Amazon. Why? If your execution becomes Amazon, I won't let you live. Death penalty is not that kind of person. You just hesitated, right? Do you know why I hesitated? I hesitated because I knew that my brother was that kind of person. The moment you are mentioned as the next successor to Mason, you are already standing on a non-stage that can only be reached by engaging in a life-or-death battle. Sao Zhong sincerely hoped. May Keongseon ascend to the position of Majon. If you do that, you will be able to control the enormous power that is the Subsoul Mason. Just thinking about it made my heart race. And at the end of this lust for power, there was still a perverse desire. Getting stronger and stronger again. Someday, I will make Jeomsun my woman. Keongseon quietly looked at the eyes of Sao Zhong, who was staring blankly at the picture of Ilhwa Jeomjun on the wall. What are you thinking like that? How can I elevate you to the position of Majon? There is no way for now. There is. There is only one way. Which way? The leader of Puncheon is here now. If I learn martial arts from him, I can beat your death penalty. Nonsense. You know very well that martial arts skills don't improve that quickly, right? You were born with a natural talent, right? Moreover, the opponent is no one else but the leader of the Puncheon Church. If I learn just one secret, I can beat your death penalty. If I become a disciple of the Puncheon cult, other Masons will hate me, right? It's a matter of life or death. First, you have to live and think. Sao Zhong burrowed into her. He did not rest until the answer came from her mouth. You bastards! I had no idea that they were such vile people. The leader of Puncheon could not hold back his anger. Are you saying there's nothing wrong with you? The shackled man just stared at the sound bell in silence. Please talk to me. You didn't expect it? They will try to send us back somehow. I did it. But I didn't know they would use such dirty tricks. Does this make sense? Are you playing around with what you eat? According to a report posted a while ago, the rice and side dishes provided to the subordinates waiting at the Foreign Office have changed. Quantity has decreased and quality has also deteriorated. Good quality meat is expensive and alcohol is cheap. Who will believe it? In the Church of the Heavenly Demon, they play around with food in a shameful way. I'd rather tell them to give me poison. Even the people who ate the food were not other people, but the main force of Puncheongyo, the 10 demon lords, and the 100 blood warriors. I couldn't just stay there, even if it was because I was embarrassed by them. Delicious methods are the most effective. And to be exact, it is not the Church of the Heavenly Demon, but the work of Demon Buddha. The leader of this cult is not the kind of person who would do something like this if we chased him out by force. That little guy isn't this good. Circumstances pushed him. It is his job to convince the religious leader. I have to somehow send the cult leader back so I can save face with the other Masons. This is not a problem that can be ignored. It was an issue directly related to one's own reputation. Because he couldn't show his subordinates that the Heavenly Demon Church was treating him poorly. I have to go and argue with the religious leader. What are you going to say when you go? Are you going to ask me to serve food? Of course I have to do it. I have to yell at you that your damn subordinate stole all my subordinates' food. I have to roll around on the floor of Kyeonmajian and tell the world that I have never seen such a shameful act. Then have a nice trip. Of course, the leader of Puncheon could not do that. The arrows of anger were directed elsewhere. What on earth is this charlatan doing? You said you would find a way. Please relax and wait. I'm saying this because I can't relax right now. A person who respects the religious leader will respect him even if he starves, and a person who hates the religious leader will still hate it even if he is fed a sumptuous feast for all 3 meals. So you don't have to worry about it. Things in the world don't work like you think. People who respect me say, you respect me this much, but you starve me. People who hate me will say, I knew this pathetic bastard would end up like this, and they will alienate others. Leave only those who can withstand all the storms. Shit! Damn it! At that time, a message was sent that Kyongseon had come from outside. The leader of the Pungcheon church looked at the shackled man with a surprised face. The shackled man smiled slightly, with an expression that seemed natural. Soon after, Kyongseon came inside and politely bowed. I meet you, our esteemed Lord Saojijiji. My name is Seo Hwanjin's Kyongseon. I know because I've heard it before. Seo Hwanjin is the best demon magician. That is too much to say. I'm sorry for not being able to come see you sooner. No, thank you for coming now. I heard it from my teacher who passed away one day. The roots of the martial arts I learned are in blood religion. That's right, in that sense we can be considered alumni. So, have you learned all martial arts from Mason? Unfortunately, I couldn't do that. So this is what I am saying. Please take me as your disciple. The head of Pungcheon looked at the shackled man and sent a message. Gongya Lee is a crazy person. It's like this. This is why we must be scholars until the end. Shit! The thought of him coming to pick up my new clothes already makes me feel sick and makes me feel like I'm going to pretend. Now, let's make that narrow space grow a little. Shut up! Although this conversation was going on inside, the expression on the face of the Pungcheon religious leader was even more solemn. It is my sincere hope that Sa Yeomagong shines in the midfield. But I don't know if your religious leader will allow us to have this precious kite. I understand that there are no restrictions at this church regarding forming a relationship with priests. Moreover, since Seo Hwanjin will become stronger as a result, the religious leader will not be against it. Are you okay? Your execution will make this an issue. Please teach me how to beat the death penalty. The head of Pungcheon spoke softly to her. Your execution could kill you. Then Kyongseon raised his head and looked at the leader of Pungcheon. Her eyes now were not those of a passive woman being swayed by a man. The innocent girl who mixed herself with Saojong and the girl here now were clearly different people. Saojong did not know. Being obedient in bed is only a small part of who she is. The reason he feels that she loves him is not because of affection, but because of her extreme self-love that never gives up what is hers. He didn't know that she was a terrible woman who would destroy anything she didn't have. Saojong knew nothing. Kyongseon said with a grin. But that doesn't mean I can die, right? The leader of Pungcheon Church, who read the primary madness that only evil women can show in her eyes, smiled with satisfaction. I'm looking forward to the next Soul Mason. The 70th difference in meticulousness. Kyongseon performed the 9 bows and rituals and officially became a disciple of the Pungcheon religious leader. The news spread quickly, and the school, including Seo Hwanjin, began to be agitated. Unexpectedly, there were more people who supported her, saying it was a good choice than those who criticized her. It was thought that it would be wiser to learn properly from the leader of Pungcheon and ascend to the rank of Magan than to ascend to the rank of Majin with weak magic skills for the sake of justification or to save face. As expected, the demons of our school were people who pursued practicality more than justification. In particular, Seo Hwanjin's magicians, who were expected to have a strong backlash, came out in support of her. Because of this, the transfer of Japanese imperialism became difficult. The plan to worsen public opinion by claiming that Kyongseon received outside help went awry. Now it is unclear who will be the successor. What do you think? The subject of which the Pungcheon religious leader was curious was Kyongseon. Doesn't the religious leader pay attention to people? Trust your own judgment. It looks more like a pulpit than it looks. I saw it similarly. It might be worth raising one. It wasn't because I wanted to make him a disciple in the first place. He used it as an excuse to use someone else in the middle of the country, but when he saw Kyongseon, he was attracted to the strange evil spirit she exuded. I guess there's nothing I can do about it. I'm drawn to seeing a bad bitch. Be careful. It seemed like he had the ambition to eat the master as well. That's why it's good. As the leader of the Pungcheon church grinned, the shackled man also smiled slightly. You seem to be in a good mood these days. Me. I don't even swear much. Above all, there had been no requests for several days to open a new space using space-time anomaly. If you're bored, would you like me to swear to you? You're welcome. I like it now. But deep down, a part of me was missing the shackled man swearing. Anyway, the leader of this cult is quiet. It seems that the leader of the Puncheon Church is worried about the Kionma. It will continue to be that way. Why do you think that? Because Lee Gongya would have met his father and finished the story. Did you even pay attention to that? I would have written it. Success and failure come from the difference in meticulousness. Why are you so friendly to Duke Lee? The evaluation is also generous. Did you take any money? The shackled man raised his head and looked at the leader of the Puncheon Church. You don't like that? I don't like it. Then let's go back to SAEO. If you go to a place where there are no scholars, you won't be shown any favor, right? The leader of the Puncheon Church looked down on his frustration and simply sighed. Even though it was obnoxious, it wasn't wrong. Because I was the one who brought him here in shackles. I told you, right? The religious leader is not fortunate enough to have it all. Shit. Stop talking about that. Why do you keep talking about how blessed you are? I'm telling you this because you keep veering off the path that is truly blessed. I won't say a word. It was then. The subordinate came and reported new facts. The servants came and cooked for our warriors in the outer garden. Sutsu? Which servants? These are the servants sent by Duke Lee. We prepared a sumptuous feast with the highest quality ingredients. At those words, the leader of Puncheon looked at the shackled man and asked, Is this it? What is the difference in meticulousness you mentioned? The shackled man nodded. He's amazing at such a young age. As I said, I didn't know you would take care of it to this extent. Maybe. This may be the moment when an unparalleled figure is born in the demonic church, or even in the martial arts world. We are sharing that moment in history. You just sent a sleepover? Yes. Send the thief, send the disciple, send the servant. That would be correct. A moment in history. Unlike the passionate man in shackles, the leader of the Puncheon Church was grumpy. At that moment in history, I am losing everything I have. As if he already knew that was the reason, the shackled man calmly comforted the leader of the Puncheon Church. Change your perspective. It is said that the priest's sacred items are being put to good use in accomplishing great things. As I said before, I'm not the one responsible for that big deal, right? I have no desire to be instrumental in someone else's success. To become a hero, you have to be diligent like a scientist. I have to work hard like a scientist. I'm trying to, right? Are you going to make an effort to ask me everything? The leader of Puncheon could not refute. These days, most of the work is left to the shackled man to handle. Finally, seeing the Puncheon cult leader unable to escape from his agony, the shackled man's expression and tone changed. It's the leader. At this moment, the Puncheon leader was very happy with his informal language. It was so nice to hear his undertones that I was worried what would happen if he didn't speak informally like this forever. I know you're trying hard. What effort am I making? You are right. No. Resisting your greed and giving up something is also an effort on your part. It was your effort to collect the sacred items and your effort to protect them. I know very well that being greedy is also an effort on your part. I know that your efforts are as difficult as those of someone trying to escape the world covered in blood. The Puncheon religious leader's heart was moved. It is only recently that I realized that having someone understand one's feelings can bring such comfort to a person. However, because he did not want to appear weak to the shackled man, the leader of the Puncheon Church made a fuss while trying to hide his true feelings. Hate. I don't want to give up my stuff. Damn scientist, just come. I'm going to tell you to fuck off right now. Go away, Lee Gongya. You'll be deaf to my yelling, so cover your ears. Okay? At that time, a subordinate spoke outside. Gongya Lee has arrived. The head of the Puncheon Church shook his head with an expression of bewilderment. You're such a crazy scientist. He really appears at a moment like this. The shackled man laughed out loud for the first time in a long time. He spoke politely, covering his ears. Well, I'm ready. Welcome. Gongya Lee. The leader of Puncheon Church welcomed me with a cheerful face. On feeding days, I could see his hand shaking, but today he seemed a little more relaxed. Have we learned the truth that it is easier to give up? After a while, the subordinate came to the table for drinks. Let's have a drink together today. Great. Take a drink. I was given a drink. Let's drink now. I had a pleasant toast with him and then had a drink. Of course, I had poisoned blood in my mouth. I'm glad to see that you believe in me. I didn't bother spitting poisonous liquor to hurt his feelings. It was right then. Are you drinking poisonous blood in your mouth? I could tell. The man in shackles sent a telegram to let us know that he was holding poisonous liquor in his mouth. After all, he is an unusual man. Yes, it is. I spit out blood poison from my mouth. Oh my God. When did you ask that? I asked when we left the drinking table. I didn't get any tickets at all. I practiced a lot. The alcohol I give you is poisoned with blood. It's really too much. Didn't I tell you before? There is no relationship between us yet. The relationship between the religious leader and me is something that does not exist in the world. Is that what you're saying even though you came today to take away my precious sacred item? If we're going to have a relationship in this mess, it won't be a matter of how many new items we take. It's as if there's only blood and poison between us right now, right? It would be better to have a definite relationship where you give and receive in return rather than a clumsy relationship that can change depending on the situation. I can't really explain it with words. Like anyone. Yes? No. I guessed that the target was the shackled man. The leader of Puncheon stood up. Now that I've lost the taste for alcohol, let's choose something new. Now, let's choose. Thank you. Before choosing a new item, I went to Yumrejong. Let's take a look at the torpedo bell one more time. It's amazing to look at. Actually, I wanted to see the shackled man again up close. After looking at the sound bell, I glanced at the man. The shackled man sat like a fossil with his head down. Why are you helping me? He could have sent me a message, but I like the fact that he didn't. He is not a light man. Will the day ever come when I will have a conversation with this man? How far will his and my fate be connected? I took a step back and walked to the place where the new object was. I acted like I was looking around, but I had already decided what I would take. I will choose this one. The new item I chose this time was a thick rolled-up bandage. The head of the Puncheon church stiffened his expression. Instead of words, his expression cursed like this. Shit! Damn it! How can you take away precious things like this? Did you choose it knowing what it was? Of course, I know this very well. I do not know. There was something mysterious about the cloth wrapped around it. That's... The leader of the Puncheon church took a deep breath. Chimmy tried to control her anger and then explained it. It's a superb piece of heavenly silk. It is an ancient treasure that is known to not be cut even when struck with a sword, and even blocks sword energy if wrapped in several layers. You can use it by wrapping it around your arms or legs, or wrap it around your heart to protect it. That's not all. It has the effect of blocking the cold and does not burn in fire. There are only a handful of weapons in the martial arts world that can cut through this top-notch Kion Jamsa without using swords or swords. The weapons I could count included the black magic sword I was wearing. I have limited knowledge, so I didn't realize it was so valuable. I don't recognize you, so why did you choose this? Why? Sorry. The leader of Puncheon could not hide his regret. He sighed several times and handed it to me. His hands were shaking. Please use it well. Thank you. I took something that I didn't want to let go, as if by force. I felt grateful to the leader of Puncheon Church. Although he was bitter inside, he always kept his promises and gave generously. Although it was excessive compensation for the work I had done, the reason I accepted it without hesitation was because I had the intention of making his dream come true. I will never forget the priest's kindness. In times like this, it would have been nice to show a positive attitude, but the leader of Puncheon could not hide his regret. The man in shackles was looking at me over his shoulder. There is no way the religious leader would have obediently handed over a sacred object despite such regret. It was the same with the blood god group earlier and this cute Puncheon Jamsa as well. I'm sure I received it smoothly thanks to the man with the shackles. This was the feeling I sent with my eyes. Thank you. I won't forget. As if he understood, the shackled man slowly lowered his head and returned to the fossil. Returning to my residence, I took out the Gyuppunchin Jamsa. I unwrapped it to a length that could be wrapped around my wrist 3 times and cut it with the black magic sword. It would have been cut just by itself, but I used internal force to cut it cleanly. In front of treasured swords such as my father's heavenly demon sword or my black demon sword, he is 1,000, but to other weapons, he becomes a monster. I wrapped it 3 times around my left wrist. No matter what happens, as long as you are wearing this, your hand will not be cut off by an opponent's attack. For now, it was enough to just wrap it around my left wrist. The right hand will be blocked by the black magic sword. The fact that it can be used intensively only on the areas where it is needed is better than any other protective gear or protective gear. I wrap the rest of the finest cloth around the handle of the black magic sword. I will use it next time I have something to write about. I just hope I don't have to wrap this around my body and jump somewhere. Because hell will unfold there. Or maybe it is hell in the first place. Working with everyone for the 71st episode. Hyalkian Doma came to visit me. He was always waiting near my residence with a large knife, but these days he comes directly to my place. When I was at home, he came to my house, unlike today, when I was in the office, he came to my office. Since I'm an adult, you should come visit me. There was no such authoritarianism in Hyalkian Doma from the beginning. He is the kind of person who comes when he wants to and goes when he wants to go. Did you hear the news that Seo Huanjin's 3 disciples became disciples of the Punchin cult leader? Yes, I heard. You planned this, right? How come when something new happens, I think it was my fault? So it's not. That's true. Hyalkian Doma raised his voice saying yes. What on earth are you planning by collaborating with the leader of the Punchin cult? What kind of grand scheme is this? I'm just helping that person. Are you really trying to let Punchyongyo advance to the Central Plains? Why not? Hyalkian Doma asked with a serious expression. Can you handle it? If you are talking about Punchin Bridge, don't I have an elder? If you don't fight the Mason, please fight the Punchin cult leader. You can't look down on that person. Even though he was brought to our school, he is the leader of the Seo Murim. If Sao Wurin goes crazy, the midfield becomes a sea of blood. Hyalkian Doma was serious and I took his advice wholeheartedly. I'll keep that in mind. When I thought that the leader of the Punchin church was a great person, the man in shackles naturally came to mind. He is the one who controls and leads this great Punchin religious leader. But why Kyongseon? It was easy to move her. Can Kyongseon become a Majin in the future? The way I see it, the first emperor and the 3 emperors are 50 steps away. It will take quite a long time for either of them to become a proper Majin. Hyalkian Doma nodded as if he sympathized with that point. So, please raise your seniors to be good inspectors as well. Tell him to wake up from his dream. I am dreaming. Investigator Seo does not dream of such things. Stop interfering in other people's business and mind your own business. Hyalkian Doma, who was about to get up from his seat, looked at the Gyuppunchin Jamsa wrapped around my wrist and asked. What is that? It's surrounded by style. You got it from the leader of the Punchin church, right? Hyalkian Doma immediately realized that this was no ordinary item. Why do you think that? It's something I haven't seen before, and you won't help the leader of the Punchin church without getting anything in return. Wouldn't it be too mean to expect a reward every time you help with a task? So? Didn't you get it? I got it. You bastard! I laughed and Hyalkian Doma shook his head as if he couldn't stop me. This is Gyuppunchin Jamsa Temple. Ah. This is it. As expected, you know. This is my first time seeing it in person. Would you like me to cut it for you? I immediately tried to undo the exquisite cloth wrapped around the handle of my sword. Done. It's something that doesn't suit this old body. Shouldn't you cover yourself up because you're old? No work. He is neither authoritarian nor materialistic. At times like this, I think that the fact that he really enjoys reading poetry and paintings may be his essence. Did you get anything else besides this? I also received the Blood God Order. I was honest with Hyalkian Doma. It has been that way so far and we intend to do so in the future as well if possible. Because I believe that this honesty will be the key to completely opening the door to your heart. Blood God Order? Maybe I spoke too casually, but it took a while for the Blood God Demon to recognize the Blood God Order. His expression changed in this order. What was the blood god order? Blood god? Huh? Could it be that blood god? Holy crazy! Blood god order? Startled, Hyul Doma suddenly got up from his seat. New foreign Shil-Young-Dan. Yes. Are you saying that the leader of the Pungchen Church gave it to you? He was so surprised that he couldn't speak for a moment. Where is it? It's in my stomach. Oh my God. I guess your strength has surpassed mine now. I just smiled. In fact, even before taking the blood god altar, his strength was comparable to that of the Magans through the demonic spirit altar and the celestial god altar. Now that I have taken the blood god Dan, I will overwhelm them with my strength. Don't worry, the left wing is still the old man. Joy! I received a spiritual order that is more effective than the heavenly order, and I even received the Supreme Heavenly Master, so I will take off my left wing. My left wing is one with my body and cannot be replaced. If I take it off, I will die. As I said before, when the body dies, the wings will fly away to find a new body. I hope you find a better body. It was meant as a joke, but Hyul Doma's expression soon relaxed. You didn't just get jealous, did you? What is jealousy? Keep in check. Doing this will make it clear that you can't take my place just because you're sick of me. It has been confirmed. It's really going. Look at your work. Hyul Doma stood up from his seat. As he was about to leave, he suddenly spoke. I don't care if it's a dragonfly wing. This means that it is okay to attach multiple wings. Those words touched my heart. With such tolerance, how could I neglect Hyul Doma? It was just as he was about to leave. A subordinate came in and announced the visit of someone else. Ilwa Jeomjin has arrived. Hyul Doma was surprised to hear that Jeomjin had arrived. Did you call me to meet you? How can you say that about someone who suddenly came to see you? Embarrassed, Hyul Doma opened the window. I stopped him from going there. You don't have much body ache. You're going to hate me when you see me. He still found his relationship with Ilkwa Jeomjin awkward and difficult. Who cares? When did you start caring so much about others? Hyul Doma, who had been thinking for a moment by the window, returned to his seat. Meanwhile, Ilkwa Jeomjin came inside. This time she was surprised to see a blood-chopping block in the office. You didn't create this place on purpose, right? I smiled and told her. How can you two be so alike? Do I prepare a table knowing when you two will come? Neither of you came without even giving me a message. If you want to argue, you should argue with the person above you. Then I looked out the window at the sky. Even though I didn't have to say, "Isn't this all destiny?" the two people understood what I meant. These are two people I want to create a space for, at least on purpose, but when I see them meet so naturally, I wonder if heaven is really arranging their reconciliation. Please sit down. Ilkwa Jeomjin sat across from Hyul Doma. What's going on, senior? I came because I have something to tell you. Then, Hyul Doma stood up. Let's talk. I will go. It's a story we can listen to together. She must be uncomfortable being with Hyul Doma, but the fact that she was caught like this means that it is an issue that concerns all of us and is equally important. Indeed, that was what she revealed. Mabul came to see me and asked me a favor. What are you asking for? One of the two disciples of the Seob Honmazon asked me to support the transfer of Japanese imperialism. Selecting a new Mason was entirely the responsibility of Parmesan. If a Mason dies without choosing a successor, the remaining Mason make recommendations to determine the next Mason. Ultimately, this means that you can only become a Mason if you receive the support of more than half of Mason. You did that before, right? As a non-military friend, it would be nice to support our person. You remembered. On the other hand, Hyul Doma was curious about what he meant. Are you a friend of mine? What does that mean? That happened. You're in cahoots with everyone but me. Is that possible? You are my first wing. This time, Ilwa Jeomjin asked. Wings? You are my left wing. And now I am desperately looking for the right wing. I deliberately glanced at Ilwa Jeomjin. Ilwa Jeomjin, who read my wish to become the right wing, quickly changed the topic. So? Who are you supporting? This is Kyongseon. For some reason, it seemed like that. It seemed like it had a different meaning from Mabul. Okay, I also support the blue line. Aside from his relationship with Mabul, going against another Mason's request would be quite a burden. Nevertheless, she is willing to support me. He was also considerate of me. This can be seen just by looking at the fact that he asked to listen to it with Hyolki and Doma. Because this was an issue that needed the help of both of them. Thank you. I really appreciated her. The same goes for helping me with Sao Jong last time. All right, senior. Let's be friends for life. She didn't even ask why it was Kyongseon. That means you trust me. At that time, Hyolki and Doma asked me. But anyway, aren't we 2 votes? Did you get another Mason's ticket? To seat Kyongseon in the position of Majon, for votes out of 7 Majon were needed. Not yet. What are you going to do? I spoke politely to both people. Please each of you convince just one person. Please. What good will it be for us if Kyongseon becomes a Mason? I gave a cheerful answer to Hyolki and Doma's question. I'm better than you too. I should like it. What I like is what the seniors like. Of course, Hyolki and Doma was joking for no reason, saying he would do the favor. On the other hand, Ilwa Jeomzone readily accepted my request. I will try to persuade the other Masons for you. If everything goes well, at least one person will vote for the blue election. Suddenly, it occurred to me that her favor might not just be due to Bimu. Because I was doing too much of a favor to say that. Looking at her, Hyolki and Doma said with a rough face. You make it look like I'm not there. On the other hand, it was a remark meant to ease the awkward atmosphere between the two, but Ilwa Jeomjin countered with a straight face. Aren't you a person who has nothing to begin with? At that moment, Hyolki and Doma's expression hardened. The good atmosphere cooled down in an instant. The gazes of the 2 people collided in the air. They fought with their eyes and did not back down even an inch. I didn't stop him and gave him enough time to let his emotions run out. This process must be repeated continuously. There's no way we'd kill each other anyway. The first person to turn his head was Hyolki and Doma. Ilwa Jeomzon, the winner of the snowball fight, snorted. Fortunately, the time it takes for conflicts to be resolved is becoming shorter. I smiled at Ilwa Jeomjin and expressed my gratitude. Thank you for letting me know about the Mabul incident. I am even more grateful that you are trying to persuade the Masons. I will never forget this favor, senior. What is grace? See you next time. Ilwa Jeomzon responded with a smile and left the office first. As soon as she left, Hyolki and Doma also stood up. I'll go too. It's one thing to receive a blessing from the leader of the Pungcheon Church, and another is to be friends with Ilwa Jeomjin. It seemed like he might be a bit worried, but Hyolki and Doma didn't show it at all. For me, the elderly always come first. You just talk nonsense. When I laughed awkwardly, Hyolki and Doma also laughed. Even if Jeomzon went that confidently, it won't be easy to convince other Mason. We will work diligently on the Mabul side as well. Please help the elderly too. I'm being ostracized among the Masons. Is this okay? Despite what he said, he had a more reassuring back than anyone else. If 2 people each persuade just one person, this side can get 4 votes. It was difficult for me to predict what the outcome would be. I decided to just trust these 2 people. Both Doma and Jeomzon are people who have lived as Masons for decades. I believe in the life they have lived. Anyway, these 2 people do a difficult job for me, and I can't just pass on this fruit to the leader of the Pungcheon Church. I headed to the residence of the Pungcheon religious leader. However, the purpose this time was not new items. I intend to lay the first stone to obtain something more precious than new items. Episode 72, I hope you are the back wave. The leader of Pungcheon looked at the place where the sacred object was placed. I looked again, and even when I closed my eyes and opened them, the place where the blood god and Gyup Pungcheon Jamsa had been was empty. I don't want to see it. She was a perfect beauty, but her 2 front teeth were missing. At the sigh of the Pungcheon cult leader, the shackled man looked at the sound bell and spoke softly. It has fangs and molars. You can bite your opponent, or you can grit your molars and make up your mind. Do you get excited every time the new thing goes away? How did you know? If you take off their shackles, they will dance. The leader of the Pungcheon Church sighed. I'm honestly scared. What are you afraid of? I'm afraid this will all end up being a vain dream. I'm afraid there will be nothing left when I wake up. You will have these regrets at that time, right? What on earth was so captivating that I gave it all up? The leader of the Puncheon Church looked at the shackled man. Then the shackled man raised his head, brushed up his flowing hair, and showed his face for the first time in a long time. Why all of a sudden? It shows that you were captivated by this guy and gave everything. Crazy guy. What the man said is correct. Now, I am not possessed by Li Gongya. I was possessed by that shackled man. To that man who proudly says he has bewitched her and smiles and says he will destroy her. How do I make Kyongseon into a Mason? We have to defeat the Masons individually and bring them in. Conciliation, persuasion, and accommodation. At least 2 new items will be included. If you're unlucky, you might need 1 more. It seemed that the shackled man had already completed his calculations, but the expression on the face of the Puncheon cult leader was deeply frowned. Is that how you say investing in a person with a skill? You are a master of science until the end. How long are you going to rely on Li Gongya? Move and handle things yourself like a man. I will tell you how to attack the Masons. I told you not to be sarcastic. You're right. Just stay still and do nothing. Is that what the military would say? As soon as the Puncheon cult leader left his words, there was a clanging sound of chains. In response to the silent protest, which soldier in the world wears shackles like this, the leader of the Puncheon Church could not say anything. I'm telling you this because you think of me as a soldier. Just stay. Sometimes you get the best results when you stay still. After a moment, the leader of Puncheon asked, Is that really okay? The Master of Science will come to visit. And then? They will demand a sacred object to place Kyongseon in the position of Majon. Is it possible even for a natural engineer? You have to believe it. We have already crossed the bridge of no return. At that time, Kyongseon, who was training in the yard, reported the news. The Duke of Li has come to visit. The leader of the Puncheon Church was surprised and impressed at the same time. Since the shackled man was moving as expected, he had the illusion that he had the upper hand. He is not worthy of being a nobleman. It's because we always think about science and engineering and talk about science and engineering. Stop talking. Stop taking sides. Your master is me. So who said you should be the front wave of the Yangtze River? At the words front wave of the Yangtze River, Puncheon's leader's heart sank. The shackled man may have just said this without much meaning, but it felt like a big deal to the leader of the Puncheon Church. Even though it wasn't, these days I felt like I was being pushed by something and was going somewhere I didn't want to go. Yes, I hope you like it because it is the back wave of the Yangtze River. When I decided to go to Jungwon, I never dreamed that I would have this conversation with the shackled man. You really can't predict what's ahead in life. For the first time, the leader of Puncheon felt the unfamiliar tension of unpredictable life. In other words, he lived a predictable and smooth life. When I visited the Puncheon religious leader, Kyongseon was also there. She was in the middle of training in the yard when she recognized me and greeted me politely. See you, Gongya Li. When the Soul Mason was alive, the relationship was indifferent, like a chicken and a dog, but now the situation has changed. She needed outside helpers to support her, and she needed to impress me, the Master of Science and Master of the Nether Regions. I heard that you have become a disciple of the leader of Puncheon Church, Sojio Chong. Congratulations. Thank you, Gongya Li. She won't know. The reason why things turned out this way was because I leaked information to Sao Jong. I came to see you because I have news to tell you. Chung Sojio, please listen together. As we entered, the shackled man lifted his head slightly and our eyes met. Since last time, we have been greeting each other in our own way. What's going on? Mabul is moving. Mabulai? How? We are persuading the Masons to make Japanese imperialist Liang the next sub on a Mason. Shit! A friend adds something. Now that Mabul is moving in earnest, I think it will be difficult for the cleaner here to become Mason. Kyongseon bit her lip gently. She took a big risk to become a Mason. Even if she became a disciple of the Puncheon cult, if she did not become a Magon, she could end up having to follow the Puncheon cult and be driven out to a new world. Gongya Li. Is there any way to get this child to sit in the Magon seat? As you know, I cannot move here in the Heavenly Demon Church. There is a way, but it won't be easy. What method? We also need to move Amazon. Fortunately, the 2 elders, Hyolkian Doma and Iltwa Jeonjun, are friendly to me. If I ask you to, maybe. Please help me. Please help me, Gongya Lee. Kyongseon was as desperate as the Puncheon religious leader. This is easier said than done. I acted harshly, not harshly. I don't know what the Amazons who want to vote for me will ask for. Even if things go well, I will owe a big debt to the two elders, Doma and Jeomson. Wouldn't me and my student be helped? I will never forget that ball. Okay, let's try. Thank you. Please wait a moment. The head of Puncheon sent out Kyongseon to see if he had anything else to say to me. You go out and practice. Yes, master. Kyongseon greeted me and then went out. There was earnestness in her eyes towards me. When she left, the leader of Puncheon asked, "What do you want this time? I guess you'll get sick of it this time too, right?" No. No. The leader of Puncheon was surprised. The only thing more important than a new object is my life. Although he said it as a joke, it was his sincere words. Words like a blessing to him flowed from my mouth. I don't want anything this time. No. No, no. Really? I nodded as if I was sure, and the expression on Puncheon's face brightened. When the results come out, I'll treat you to a drink. An alcohol. You gave me 2 precious sacred items, right? Win or lose, let's have a drink. Where? You should eat here. If the religious leader were to leave while the sacred object was stolen, everyone would think it was strange. I will prepare drinks and food. Of course, that's not the case. It was to drink in the presence of the shackled man. If possible, we will try to become a winning stock rather than a losing stock. After saying that, he stood up. The leader of Puncheon was happy, but at the same time he looked embarrassed. Just in case you don't know, teach your disciple well. The cleaning agent may have to deal with the transfer of Japanese colonial rule. I have that in mind too. Okay then. As I was about to leave, I turned back to the leader of Puncheon Church. I really have something to ask you. Something? I was trying to create a sky in a space created through space-time anomaly, but the texture did not flow smoothly. Can I ask you to explain that one more time? The leader of Puncheon was surprised. The shackled man sitting there was also startled. He rarely showed his emotions, but this time he had a reaction. In order to fill the space, we have to succeed in making it within half an hour. We have already succeeded in making it within half an hour. What? The leader of Puncheon was astonished. He didn't believe it when he said it would open in 2 hours. They said they would show it in person next time, but it was natural to be surprised that they had already reduced it to half a viewing. Show me. Then I'll tell you. Are you going to wait for Bansai Jin? I'll wait. Great. I immediately started practicing space-time transformation techniques while memorizing the 9 words. Half an hour later, we were in the space I had created. I intentionally took the shackled man there too. The Puncheon religious leader was surprised, and the shackled man was also surprised. The sky expanded, but there were holes here and there, making it a strange sky. After looking around the place for a while, the Puncheon religious leader asked me, "Why did you have to start from heaven?" I like looking at the sky. When I watch it, I feel like my frustrated mind is lifted. Then, please explain. I promised, so I will teach you. The leader of Puncheon gave a detailed explanation of the space-filling part of the space-time transformation technique. In fact, I was able to create a perfect sky. But naturally, I pretended that I couldn't make it properly so that I could show my skills in front of them. After listening to the explanation from the leader of Puncheon Church and after half an hour, I surprised them even more by opening up a new space with a bright blue sky. It was not a move shown for the sake of the Puncheon religious leader. It was to show the man in shackles what kind of talent I had. Are you bragging? Right. It's intentional smugness. In my last life, the greatest virtue of a leader that I felt was strength. No matter what anyone said, it was strength. A person strong enough to trust and entrust everything to me. And I saw the face of a shackled man looking up at the sky. His clear yet lonely eyes. I still don't know what kind of person he is. But one thing was certain. Although they call him a shackled man, he was a man with an appearance and aura that did not suit shackles at all. After Jiamujuk left, the leader of Puncheon and the shackled man were silent for a while. The first person to speak was the leader of Puncheon Church. I saw a martial arts genius today. It must be heaven and earth. Kian Mujish? Yes, otherwise I wouldn't be able to learn the space-time transformation technique so quickly. Is this still a waste? What? The one that gave you space-time anomaly? Of course it's a waste. Isn't this regret unrelated to the other person's ability? I might become a legend with the martial arts taught by the sect leader. I always say this, but what good is that legend if I'm not the one? Our religious leader is a man who never gives up. You're being sarcastic again. No. I think it's good to be honest. Because it's you. I'm being honest because it's in front of you. If I go somewhere else, I won't be this soft person. Although he often revealed his true feelings, the shackled man never once revealed his true feelings. The leader of Puncheon knew the reason better than anyone else. Unless you release those shackles, you will never know his true feelings. But that doesn't mean there will ever be a time when those shackles will be released. No one will steal you away. The shackled man, whether aware of such feelings or not, just stared at the evil spirits engraved on the sound bell. Is the demon talking to you again? Ask me again why I live like that. Tell everyone that they live like that. You evil bastard, everyone lives like that. Why are you asking such a great thing? But the leader of the Puncheon church did not know. At this moment, the man is telling the demon something completely different. He was talking about a person who told him to please stop taking sides and stop talking. The demon, whose mouth looked as heavy as a tonic bell, was just listening to him in silence.